This is my newest guitar build. It's a Nomoonlaser body, a licensed Fender neck with licensed Fender hardware, a Gunstreet wiring solderless harness, and the Seymour, Duncan, Joe Bonamassa 1950 broadcaster pickups from their custom shop. So let's talk about the build and hear it. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily and I hope you're having a day that's at least half as lovely as you are. Last time I did a build like this, it was a baritone, and I also used a Nomoonlaser body, which you can see up there. I'm a big fan of their bodies. They're pretty much all T-style routing, but they have a lot of fun body shapes. I have an affiliate link for their reverb.com page in the video description. The neck is, like last time again, a Fender licensed neck. Specifically, this one is a roasted maple Ventura Mod 50s Telecaster neck with 21 medium jumbo frets, a 9.5 inch radius, and a V-shaped carve on the neck. As you might have guessed, I'll have an affiliate link for that in the video description as well. The hardware it started out as a mix of official Fender parts and other stuff that I just pulled off of guitars. I ended up using mostly Fender stuff just because I knew it would fit, but I'll mention what's what in the actual build portion. Don't worry. When it comes to guitars, I think that the most important part of the feel is the neck, the most important thing about the looks is the body, and the most important thing about the sound is the pickups. These pickups are brand new and they're from my friends at Seymour Duncan. It's their Joe Bonamassa 1950 broadcaster pickup set, and those are available in their custom shop. So what we're looking at here is an Alnico 2 neck and an Alnico 4 bridge, and the look and feel are both modeled after Joe Bonamassa's 1950 Fender broadcaster. Obviously, links in the description. I was pretty sure I would like these because I love that classic sound, and I'm really blown away by these pickups. So let's go ahead and hear this guitar just a little bit, and then I'll show you some clips from the build process. And then afterwards, I'll talk about a few lessons I learned, including why I should just order Gunstreet wiring harnesses for my future builds from the get-go. For an amp, I'm using the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave with the volume at about 4, tone is just in the middle. I'm also using their Tall Bird reverb with the dwell down, the dry up, and the wet down a bit. I'm going to start on the neck and then I'll work my way to the bridge. That bridge definitely has some bite. Let's go back to the middle. I bet this could jazz a little bit too. to the neck again. So let's talk about the feel of this guitar, and then we'll get into some more overdriven tones. The body shape is so comfortable, and that's just Jazzmaster's, at least the Jazzmaster shape, I should just say, because I think we should call this an offset broadcaster, honestly. They're just comfortable. They're comfortable to sit with and play. They're really not too heavy like you might expect them to be. They're not heavier than a Telecaster. There's a little bit of relief here. They're just very ergonomic guitars, and that's why I have always loved them. As for the neck, this is not quite a baseball bat, but it's getting there. It's definitely a thicker neck than I usually play. I used to think I really liked thin necks, but after playing a few, I think I enjoy having some variety depending on how I feel, depending on what I want, and honestly, I've been having such a great time playing this. I was able to get the action low enough that it's really nice and spanky. It really fights you in kind of a good way, which presents its own challenges, but also its own rewards. As for the sound, I think these pickups sound amazing. Like, I know that people have their own opinions about Joe Bonamassa. What you have to agree is that the man knows what a good guitar sounds like. He has a great collection of amazing ones, and only 250 broadcasters were made, so it's a very rare sound to be able to truly get into your own instrument. So that's pretty cool. And full disclosure, I've seen Joe Bonamassa live a lot of times, so take from that what you will, right? But this is all that bridgy twang that I want. And then in the middle position, obviously it's nice and quiet. It's really versatile, really good rock sound. And then the neck is really sweet. I love it. But let's go ahead and get into some more overdriven tones. Now this shouldn't sound too different. It's the same Benson Chimera plugin, but I've just turned the preamp on. That's the middle. That's the neck. And that's the bridge. And the thing about Telecaster bridges is sometimes you may want to roll the tone down, but still sounds really good. Middle again, a little bit less twingy, but still fun, a nice overdriven rock tone, you know what I mean? The neck even more so. These pickups, to me, they sound very dynamic. I am, again, just obsessed with this build. It's been a while since I've been able, just because of being busy and traveling, been able to sit down and just play guitar for a good solid amount of time, and when I was able to finally put this one together, I couldn't put it down. But now that you've heard it, do you want to watch me build it? If you do, keep watching and stay for my lessons learned at the end, because, well, I do have a lot to take away. You just gotta watch it. Welcome to my garage. I have all my parts handy on the table. Not all of them are in the shot, and I'll talk about them later when I go through the playthrough. You're just here to see this build. But I have my body, I have my neck, I have my pickups over here in this box, so let's get started. This is a Nomoonlaser body. I pulled this control plate off of a Telecaster years ago, so I'm pretty excited to use it again. Obviously, I just kind of snipped some leads there and there, but I'll pull out a wiring diagram just to make sure I get everything right, but it's a standard 3-way switch, nothing too fancy. I ended up going for the 6 saddle Tele bridge. I am interested in maybe putting on one of those like palm benders on this, possibly, and you need to have individual saddles for those to work. Here is my official Fender licensed Telecaster neck. It is made in Sonata. It's got a V profile, which is something I find increasingly comfortable. I'm pretty sure it's vintage fret wire. Edges are pretty nice. I'm gonna be honest, the frets themselves, they seem a little flat, so we'll be mindful of this, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Put that aside as well. This is the Nomoonlaser body. I've used one of their Tele bodies before. That was just a standard Tele. This is obviously an opposite Telecaster Jazzmaster kind of shape. I'm going to try to do the same thing where I did before, where I just neck mounted the pickup. I think I might have a conversion plate somewhere, so we'll see if I end up needing that. When I say conversion plate, I mean just a plate that goes around there, and then the Telecaster pickup nestles in there, just like a pickguard mounted one. But one thing that I kind of noticed about this one is this is not going to be a big deal, and I doubt you'll even be able to see that. There's a bit of a chunk missing there. Not a big deal, just a little bit more weight relief. And I just think the grain on this is so beautiful. I love that knot right there and right there. This is just a gorgeous piece of wood, and its walnut kind of finish reminds me of the Elvis Costello signature. So yeah. And here we have the pickups. Let me get those into line here, into the frame, and open it up. These are from Seymour Duncan. My friends at Seymour Duncan sent me this. I told them I was building a Telecaster, and I asked them, like, hey, is there anything you would be interested in me featuring? And they said, oh, we've got something really new for you. And I'm excited to check them out because I think they were going to come out the same day I released this video. But they are the Joe Bonamassa 1950 Broadcaster set. So for those who don't know, Broadcasters predate Fender Telecasters, and there are only about 250 made, and Joe Bonamassa, we're not surprised, owns one. He is a phenomenal guitar player and collector. You know, most people don't know this. I grew up really loving Joe Bonamassa. I've seen him live several times. So this is set number 150. Master craftsperson is MJ. Neck 624K, bridge 8.82. I believe the neck is Alnico 2 and the bridge is Alnico 4. But I've never gotten one of these like custom shop signature sets before, so I'm really excited. Oh, that's so nice. That's a really nice touch. Let's open this up. Oh, it's knotted. Cloth wire, lovely. By the way, the first 250 of these will be aged as well. So there still should be about 249 out there for y'all. That's the bridge with the flat pole piece, because they didn't really start doing staggered pole pieces for several years. And it's hand signed by Seymour himself and Joe on the back plate. So that's really, really cool. What a nice little piece of history. Wonderful. Anything else in here? Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. They even send you aged, because these are aged to look like Joe's. They even send you aged hardware. That's so cool. That's so funny. Oh my God. I love that. So let's see if we'll be able to body mount those. You know, those old broadcaster neck pickups, they were body mounted is my understanding, but my guess is they might have just given you what you needed to pick guard mount them, because most people don't have actual broadcasters. Seymour Duncan, of course, makes the best wiring diagrams. Oh my gosh, I just realized this is not that. I'm gonna see if I have another wiring harness. So something I've just realized is that this is an import style switch, unfortunately. So I'll just have to look up a wiring diagram for that kind of switch. First, I'm going to install this bridge, I think. We have some guide holes drilled, but I don't think those are going to be quite big enough. So I'll probably pre-drill those a little bit more. So I have pre-drilled, well, drilled those holes out a little bit bigger. I really regret now not going with like an aged plate, because these screws are, half of them are going to be aged and half of them aren't, but they're all going to be flatheads. Do you prefer rubber or springs? Let me know in the comments. I can tell you that for the purpose of putting things together, I prefer rubber. I imagine springs might last a little bit longer. Would these screws even be long enough? Oh yeah, I mean, they're definitely long enough for a body mount. If I use a spring, they're actually perfect for a body mount. And if I use a spring instead of the rubber, it might work. As it is, I just don't want to misdrill the body mounted holes. Just mark where those holes are going to be. I'm going to use a very small drill bit first. So that's in place. I'm not going to work to like fine tune the height or anything for a while. I'm not going to wire this up yet. That is going to be the last thing that I do. But I'm going to put the neck on after I put the tuning machines on the neck. So we're going to get rid of the body and I'll be right back. I'm really excited about this neck. And I have opted for this set, kind of road worn. So these are also genuine Fender parts. I did pay for everything except for the pickups with this video. So thanks to Seymour Duncan for saving me a little bit of money. These are vintage style. I hope they fit. If I have to go and get a different one, then that's oh well. So here's the thing about putting new tuning machines on new guitar necks. And I had this problem with nearly every neck I've ever bought, where the tuning machines, they just don't fit. I forget what this part is called. I apologize. But I have been needing one of these, which is a taper tool, a tapered reamer specifically, which my husband said sounds like the name of a monkey, and I don't disagree with him there. To make these holes just a little bit bigger, you don't want to use a drill on finished wood if you don't have to, but so I shouldn't really want to. Sometimes you do have to. So I had to go to a few hardware stores before somebody even knew what this tool was, or talked to several people at Lowe's. They didn't know what it was, they didn't have one. Someone suggested I just take these drill bits like this and just kind of eat away or use a file to make the hole a little bit bigger. I felt more comfortable with the reamer. It was honestly a lot faster. Had to go to a local hardware store before someone knew what this was, just offhand, and they had one. I got the last tapered reamer, I think, in North Seattle. But now I'm going to finish installing those tuning machines, so let's get to it. Back at the neck, we have these N-line tuners. They're not staggered or anything, so it shouldn't make a difference except for the first and last ones. Bad news for me, I'd ordered these ferrules. I've had them for a long time. I didn't buy them for this build. I thought they would work. They're not going to work. They're actually all too big. They just kind of fall out of the back, and they're a little bit long, so try to be more prepared for your builds than I am. So obviously I'm not finishing this guitar tonight. At this point I probably will just wire everything up. I have my electro socket here, and I guess I'll just do the wiring. So not like stoked, not a great mood about it. Really disappointed in myself and my poor planning. I've just ordered something on Amazon. It should be here tomorrow. Just kind of bummed. So yeah, I'm gonna work on this. See you in a second. Hello, beautiful people. I'm back. Hopefully with more right tools this time. Last time I was building, like just the other night, all I had was this import style switch, and the more I looked at it, the farther I felt like I was getting away from it. I've never successfully wired up one of those import style 3-way switches for telly. So that's this one right here. I looked at a bunch of diagrams, I just couldn't figure it out, and I didn't want to solder and then just mess something up. So I actually ended up getting this solderless harness from my friends at Gunstreet. I've used these before, I love them. I also have the correct ferrules this time. So hopefully I'll have everything that I need to have a successful rest of this build. So I'm going to go back to just the overhead so I can just hover over this guitar a little bit. Do the string ferrules first. Fender genuine parts. So the one thing I know in advance is that this terminal here is going to be the bridge ground. That is this wire, so let's push back that cloth a little bit here. There we go. I find that you need quite a bit of lead on these for them to work really well. So Gunstreet also makes these in 4- and 5-way switching. In fact, I called Sean from Gunstreet when I was having my struggles. He said, "Oh, you should just make this into a 4-way. It's easy." I said, "Absolutely not. not this time. Not this time." Oh, right. This has a little tone control on here. So up saves more high end as we use the volume, and down saves more low end as you use the volume. I want to save more high end, so I'm going to switch that up to high. I don't know if you could actually see that, but right there. So we can test this. I have this little itty bitty little amp from Bookworm Effects that I like to use to test things out. Here, that's working. All right, we are in the middle position. Let's get the volume up. That works. Lovely. You love to see it. I cannot speak highly enough about these kits from Gunstreet Wiring. Like, the amount of time that this is insanity this has saved me. I should have just done it in the first place. And there we go. I'll retest it one more time because, you know, sometimes you put it back in the
cavity in. So it ends up grounding. Gorgeous, gosh, I love these kits. I love them so much. Also, Sean from Gunstreet wanted me to tell you all that I'm very good at soldering, so when I try. Actually, an embarrassing, oh yeah, that's right, moments for me. This is not super compatible with an electro socket. So I don't have another jack option, but as you can see, it really sticks out like a lot. So that sucks for me. Let's see. So neat. But I'm gonna get the neck on, I'm gonna get some strings on, and give this a little setup, obviously. the bridge with everything lowered all the way. Going to have a little bit of work ahead of me. And you don't want to watch all that. Neck is on, again, looking like a guitar now. I'm gonna put some of these Ernie Ball reinforced plain strings, Slinky 9s, on the guitar. Get the string tree on there. And get this bad boy set up. So the good news is I found an alternative to the electro socket and it fits a lot better. I did a minor intonation job on this. The action could be lower. Honestly, I think a shim is in the eventual future, but it's looking largely pretty good. What I am going to do is I'm going to file down the nut slots a little bit more, and there's my little hole that I drilled. And I'm gonna say I had a lot of trouble with this. It just was not screwing in. I almost stripped the screw, so then I drilled the hole a little bit deeper, but I was really frustrated. I had a lot of trouble with that. Kind of embarrassed at how much trouble I had with that. But yes, just some nut slotting there, because otherwise this first F is really out of tune. But I like the look of it. I really like how the pickups sound even through this little guy. But I did take it upstairs and tested it out with a real rig, and they sound really bright and open, as you probably already know by now. One other thing is, while I do enjoy the look of these, this does connect with the screw. I usually leave the volume all the way up, so it's not a big concern to me, but also these are not quite even. This is such an imperfect instrument. But then again, if I wanted a perfect looking guitar, I wouldn't have started with this body. So, listen, obviously this build could have gone better just from a processes standpoint. Like with most builds by non-professionals like myself, I hit some snags, many of which were completely avoidable. Here's a short list of what I'll do differently next time. First things first, I'll have the right tools at hand. I was missing some really important things. I apparently don't have as robust a drill bit collection as I thought I did, which caused me some struggles. I also had to go out and buy that tapered reamer tool, which was not fun, but I absolutely should have anticipated needing both of those things. The next is actually putting parts together. The annoying things this time were like the electro socket not fitting and having the wrong ferrules. If I tried to assemble literally anything other than just kind of like making sure the neck and the bridge and everything seemed to be measured correctly, which I did do, I did make sure it was going to align really well. But if I had done more before going all in, I would have noticed those two things especially, and I would have been able to finish this build in one day instead of having to go to Amazon, heaven forbid, and buy more things, which I don't love doing. The last, and just to be clear, this is not a paid spot. I would just buy the Gunstreet wiring harness from the get-go. I shouldn't have even thought about trying to solder up an import style 3-way blade switch. Whether it's one of Gunstreet's soldered or solderless harness, I simply prefer using Gunstreet for my wiring needs. So I messaged Sean when I realized that it was an import switch I was using and I didn't want to screw with it. I messaged him and asked him to overnight me a switch, and I would have saved myself a lot of time and money if I just
ordered it normally. Ultimately, though, to me, this build was so worth it. I'm, again, in love with this guitar. After I set it up, I went upstairs and I literally played for hours. I played for hours, right, Rick?
You were gone for a while.
I was gone for a while, he said. I probably should have been doing work, but I couldn't be happier with the look, feel, or sound, and the satisfaction of knowing I made this happen. That's invaluable. Also, just one quick thing, I almost went with a rosewood, or I'm pretty sure it would be a Pau Ferro fretboard. I'm really glad I went with the contrast of the maple. If you liked this video, check out my baritone build, which is linked on the screen. In it, Gunstreet saves the day again when I had a wiring snafu caused by, well, you'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for understanding, affiliate links and video description, and until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.